Right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody is doing very well. Grant, it's been a pleasure so far to, of course, review all of the rules for Age of Sigmar 3rd edition.
Yes, get our heads around it all, but we're getting there.
At this point, when you guys are watching this, me and Lucy have already played a game. At the point of recording, we haven't, so we'll see how that goes. But today, we are gonna delve into that box, a big pile of plastic. There was a lot of plastic in that box, Grant.
There's nothing better than opening a big box that's full of plastic.
Honestly, it was all plastic, and then 3 little books at the bottom.
Yeah,
and that was it. Well, I say little. One of them's obviously quite big.
So there's just something so satisfying about that smell.
Yeah. So in today's video, we are going to discuss the new Kruleboyz, their allegiance abilities, the points in each unit, reasonably in depth, while I put together some of them. So I'm going to build the guy on Nashtooth, the Warboss dude, and then probably the Shaman, I think, by the time Grant covers most of the rules. So, Kruleboyz, everybody kind of thought destruction was coming. Everyone knew destruction was going to be a thing. At first, I was like, oh, it's orcs. The models are beautiful.
Yeah, they are. They're different to Iron Jaws and Bone Splitters.
Yeah.
Completely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But more importantly, what do they actually do, Grant?
Well, so we'll go over their allegiance abilities. Now, there's only one listed here. When we get the book, there could be more. We don't know, but
you'll probably get clans in the book as well.
Yeah, I would think so. There'll be something like that. But at the moment, they've one allegiance ability, which is venom encrusted weapons. So, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by a Kruleboyz Orruck model is a 6, that attack inflicts a number of mortal wounds to the target equal to the weapon's damage characteristic, and the attack sequence ends. Don't make a wound roll or save roll. And this doesn't affect mounts.
No. Also, important note there is the keyword that it does affect.
Kruleboyz Orruck.
So, like, that's...
We'll get why that's important as we go through the War Scrolls.
Yeah. But in general, like, causing mortal wounds on 6s to hit across your army
is great.
It's fantastic. Like,
yeah,
you know, you've got an 18% chance or 16% or whatever it is of every single hit doing mortal wounds.
Well, again, look at battalions. There's battalions that give you that ability. You pay the points for that ability to add it to your army, and these guys are just flat out getting it.
Yeah, well, you're not paying the points anymore, though, are you?
We just don't get them anymore. But, you know, we have been paying the points.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, it's not just melee either. It's everything.
Is it? Are you sure?
Yeah. It does not say melee. Hit roll for an attack.
Then yes, you are absolutely correct. Yeah. Wow.
Which makes sense. You know, venom covered arrows. That makes sense. But yeah, your new shooty orcs have got poisonous arrows.
And speaking of shooty orcs, they're actually all right when we get to the rules for them.
Yeah, they are. It's nice to have a destruction unit that can shoot that isn't 60 million dice bone splitters.
Or 60 shooters from Grots. They end up doing nothing anyway.
At least like Arrow Boys will do something.
Yeah.
Especially against a monster. But I've never built any because I can't be bothered rolling like 90 dice a turn. So
I know Mr. Spink, if he's watching this, loves an Arrow Boy or two.
Oh, I'm openly making my bone splitters worse by not running Arrow Boys. But I just can't be bothered with that hassle.
Fair enough.
Right, but this is although these are Orruck Warclan, that is a keyword that all these units have. So, and it has been said on the community page multiple times, these do fit into Orruck Warclans.
Which is interesting. I wonder if they're going to totally rewrite the Great War.
Yeah, I wonder if the Kruleboyz book is just going to be Orruck Warclans 2. Because if they're going to fit in Orruck Warclans, it doesn't really make much sense to give the Kruleboyz a new book and just leave the Orruck Warclans book as it is. I mean, they could put the Big Wild Legions into the Kruleboyz book.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
I think at that point, you're get everyone buy a second book anyway so they can run Big Wild. You might as well just put everything in that book and update it all for AOS 3 in one go.
If you consider some other armies that have like large squads, like how big is the new Stormcast book going to be, man?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's going to be
like bigger than your Space Marine book at this point.
Probably being Cities of Sigmar is probably one of the bigger books. Just because there's so much in it, because they're combining so much. But I think the Stormcast book's just going to surpass that quite handily.
But at the same time, they've also mentioned that they're going to be merging the Dwarden books.
Yeah.
So
it could be super interesting if and when we see that.
So yeah, anyway, who's the first model that we're looking at?
So this is the Killer Boss with Stabgrot.
So this is the guy on foot. Yeah. And the Stabgrot is one of the best models ever.
Yeah, I am really liking the companions in this, which I think is a new thing. I don't think we've had companion units before.
I think Gryph-hound, there's a puppy Gryph-hound on a War Priest that has it, and I think Lord Castellan.
Yeah, but they don't have the companion rule. That's the thing.
Okay.
There's no rule for companions, which I like a lot better than where these units were before. So, a Killer Boss with Stabgrot is armed with one of the following. Oh, we'll go through the little stats first. So he's movement 5, 6 wounds, bravery 7, 4 up save. Fairly solid, orky profile.
Yeah, absolutely.
The melee weapons are a Boss Hacker, which has range 1, 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, and 2 damage. So again, if you roll a 6 to hit with that weapon, you're doing 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah. Why is it only range 1 though?
It is only range 1, yes.
Why?
He's only on foot.
Oh.
He's only on foot.
Okay.
Yeah, but he can also stick out a flail, the rustling flail, which is 2-inch range. So you do have an option to have that as well, which is 2 attacks, 3 and 3s, -1, but only 1 damage. And then the prized Shiv is 1-inch, 3 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage.
And that's from the Killgrot, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Boss and the Stabgrot are armed with one of the following options. Either the Boss Hacker and the Flail, or the Boss Hacker and a Shield, Scare Shield. Now, if you take the Scare Shield, as it says here, the save characteristic of a Killer Boss with Stabgrot armed with a Boss Hacker and a Scare Shield, is a 3+ instead of 4+.
Okay.
So yeah, you need to take the shield and the Stabgrot to get that bonus save.
Cool.
Now here's the companion rule that appears a couple of times throughout these scrolls. This Killer Boss is accompanied by a Stabgrot that attacks with its prized Shiv. The Stabgrot must remain within 1 inch of the Killer Boss. For rules purposes, the Killer Boss and Stabgrot are treated as a single model.
Alright.
I like that. I think that's smart. I never liked when the up until now the main one's been like the Castellan, like you say, with the Gryph-hound. And they were 2 separate units, and they didn't have to really do much with each other. So I like now that they are a unit.
I wonder if they do that with. Although saying that, I don't think Castellan actually comes with the Gryph-hound.
The model does.
Lord Castellan, when you buy him, does he come with a Gryph-hound?
Yeah, he's got the staff, the warding lantern, and his little doggy.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering
if that's basically going to be one unit then, in the same manner that this is.
Well, given that we have a Stormcast hero with a Gryph-hound in this box, I'm sure we'll find out then.
Go and check out the Stormcast video for that.
Yeah, exactly. That'll answer that question. So now he's getting to his abilities. All part of the plan. If a friendly Kruleboyz unit fails battle shock test within 3 inches of any friendly units with this ability, only one model will flee.
That's bearing in mind
I,
what we discussed with bravery. That's good.
yeah, I like that. It's not quite Battle Shock immunity, but you're only losing one model, which I think is more fitting for like an orc. At least one of them's going to run away, then the rest are going to be scared into line.
It's a bit like the boss from 40k Orcs, where you just do D3 mortal wounds but automatically pass your morale.
Yeah, yeah. So I like that. I think that's perfectly fine because you're going to have potentially bigger units, although obviously with how reinforcements not are working, we don't know how big units not are going to be, but it's, as we've said, Battle Shock's going to be more of a thing this edition. Ways to mitigate it without spending command points is always going to be useful. And his next ability, you hold him off. Each time a wound or mortal wound is allocated to this unit and not negated, you can choose to risk the Stabgrot. If you do, you must roll a dice. On a 1 to 5, the Stabgrot is killed and the wound is negated. On a 6, the Stabgrot is not killed and the wound is negated. If the Stabgrot is killed, though, the model representing him is removed from play before the wound is negated. Okay. Now, that's all well and good. I'm assuming, though, you'll still stay at the 3-up save.
Yeah, it's an extra wound. It's the same as the I think some of the orc big mechs have Grot Oilers, and some Jinx Stealer cults have the familiars. They basically give you an extra free wound.
Yeah. It's just because of the way it's worded, the save characteristic of a killer boss and Stabgrot.
Yeah, so they are treated as one unit. The unit has a 3-up save. You fail a save, you suffer a wound. You can then choose to allocate that wound to the Stabgrot. 1 to 5, he's dead, and basically takes the wound. But on a 6, you just negate the wound. You get really lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you roll the 1 to 5 and he's dead, we're assuming then the unit would still stay at a 3-up save, even though you've lost the model, giving you the benefit of that 3-up save. No, because you only get save with the Grot.
I think you're looking too much into that there.
I think so. Yeah. I'm just thinking thematically, but yes. But yeah, so that's the killer boss.
Yeah.
So I think one thing to take away from this, which what I took away from this straight away, is these aren't the orcs that we're used to because they aren't super fighty.
No.
Like, this guy isn't going to go toe-to-toe with a Iron Jaws Mega Boss and come out okay. So, I think it looks underwhelming, but I think it's because they're going to play very differently to what we're used to from orcs.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's nice to have a change, because then you've got your elite Iron Jaws, your hardy Bone Splitters, and your maybe more sneaky, tricksy Kruleboyz.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, next, we have the Swampcalla Shaman with Potgrot. Also very cool. I think the Stabgrot is better, but the Potgrot is pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how they've done this in the style with when they released all the Death Guard for 40k and stuff, and the Nurgle and stuff, and you had all them little characterful Nurglings. Yeah. Granted, they didn't do anything rules-wise, but...
No, but they were cool.
Yeah.
Especially Sassy Nurgling. Everyone remembers Sassy Nurgling. So the Swampcalla...
Ian's Sassy Nurgling has a Warlord Titan on it.
Excellent. So he's moving 5 seconds.
Not the Titan has a Nurgling on it, the Nurgling has a Titan on it.
Yeah, the Titan on him.
Anyway,
Moving 5, 6 wounds, 6 bravery, 5-up save. So again, you're the Shaman, you're not going to be as heavily armoured. He has the Bog Bark Staff, which is a 3-inch range, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 D3 damage. Again, a fairly standard wizard staff profile. And a backup stabber, which is 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. So again, the Swampcalla Shaman and Potgrot is armed with a Bog Bark Staff. Doesn't actually say it also backup stabber, but yeah, they're there. The unit is a wizard and can cast 1 spell and unbind 1 spell.
Nice.
Then you've got the same companion rule where they've got to stay together. So potions and elixirs. So this was people on community page, and this is what kind of tipped our hand to their allegiance ability, because this is a great way to buff that ability. So in your hero phase, if this unit is more than 3 inches from all enemy units, instead of casting any spells with this unit, you can say that they are brewing either a potion or an elixir. If you do so, pick one friendly Kruleboyz Orruck unit wholly within 12 of this unit, more than 3 away from all enemy units, and that has at least one model within 3 inches of the unit.
Yeah, so you've got to have one of your models within 3 of the shaman. The rest of the unit has to be wholly within 12.
To be given that potion or elixir. Unit that's been given a potion or elixir cannot be given another potion or elixir in the same hero phase. If you give them I've been saying potion and it's supposed to be poison. Yeah. If you give them poison until your next hero phase, when you use the venom encrusted weapons allegiance ability for that unit, mortal wounds are caused on an unmodified roll of 5+.
Nice.
So that's just twice as good as it was before, which is fantastic. And if you give them an elixir, you get +1 save.
I just want to point out as well that you can seriously do some damage if you put that on a big unit of boys, right? And then
more than enough dice at that point.
Still use all-out attack, because obviously, you know, if you're buffing a unit like that, you might as well use all-out attack on them and make sure that if you're going to be hitting, you know, guarantee the hits. But those that do hit are in with a very good chance of doing extra.
Because as we remember, all-out attack has changed now. It's not the reroll ones, which you used to want to put on to fish for those mortals. Now it's just +1 to hit.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great ability. I think you're going to want to put him in the list, but he's also got a spell.
Yep.
Which is also just ridiculously good. So it's called Summon Boggy Mist. It's a casting value of 7, so pretty average. If successfully cast until your next hero phase, add 1 to the charge rolls for friendly Kruleboyz Orruck units on the battlefield.
On the battlefield?
Yep. And subtract 1 charge rolls for other units on the battlefield.
On the battlefield?
That's entire battlefield control on a casting value of 7. That is ridiculously good.
Absolutely.
The fact that it's just battlefield wide is bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could expect, like, you know, wholly within 18 or something.
Yeah, something like that, absolutely fine. But whole battlefield, which I love the idea of this shaman, just this whole mist descending on the battlefield and stuff. I think it's just super interesting.
And the grot
now,
bubble, toil and trouble.
So now we go on to the killer boss on Great Nashtooth, who's the big guy in the box. Well, the big guy for the Kruleboyz in the box.
Grant can't actually see this, but I'm almost finished building him now.
Oh, excellent. So he's movement 10, 10 wounds, bravery 7, and a 3-up save. So
everything's got a 3-up save?
Yeah. Hero-wise, anyway, we're looking at quite tanky characters, which is it's interesting. We've not really had a lot of high save units in AOS, so
it's rare. It's rare that you got something more than a 4+, really. Yeah.
So again, like everything else in this edition, there's going to be changes to lists and units, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it turns out. So. Melee weapons. Jagged Boss Sticker. 1-inch range. 4 attacks. 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. So again, you'll get your 2 mortal wounds for every 6th hit there. Then you've got the Bone Crushing Fangs. Just 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -2 damage. But because that's a mount, you won't get the Venomous Weapons ability on that.
Yeah.
So, all part of the plan, which is the same as the other killer boss has. So if you fail a battle shock test, only 1 model runs. And then you've got Savage Hound, which is add 1 to the hit rolls for the attacks made by this unit if this unit made a charge move in the same turn.
I'm wondering Are they going to do similar with other units that have mounts?
In what way?
Gore-grunters already get it, but like, because if they charge, then the Jagged Gore hackers get like, what was it, +1 to wound or something, but the Tusks get it as well.
+1 hit. Like 2s and 2s or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. But then, like, are they going to confer a similar ability to like Griff Chargers, Dracolines?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
We've seen in the rules and on the war scrolls that they basically just called things leader, banner bearer, musician. Right? There's no naming it everything under the sun across all armies. It's just your musician does this. Right? I wonder if like there's going to be some form of kind of coherent rule like that for mounts. Not monsters.
No.
I'm talking about like juggernauts, Dracolines, things like that.
I think we'd have seen it in the core rules if we're going to tie everything together. But will more units get charge bonuses? Well, I hope so. Cavalry should be scary when it's charged.
Yeah.
When it's charging. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Sorry, cavalry. Yeah. Now we know they've added the monstrous things. Fine, cool, but like all of this could just be added to like cavalry war scrolls pretty easily.
A lot of them do a lot of them get benefits if they've got lances and stuff like that. The lance gets the bonus. But yeah, a lot of the Stormcast stuff actually doesn't really change if they charge.
Yeah.
Now that you point it out. Anyway, the Murknob with Belcha-banna. So, movement 5, 6 wounds, 7 bravery, 4 up save. And he has the Murknob Cleaver, which is 1 inch range, 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, and 2 damage. So, not a terrible fighter for a banner abater.
No, and then obviously any 6s to hit, you're doing 2 mortal wounds.
Yep. And that's just so good. When a friendly Kruleboyz Orruck unit wholly within 12 of this unit is affected by a spell, or the abilities of an endless spell, you can roll a dice. On a 5+, you ignore the effect.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then Breath of the Mire Drakes. At the start of the combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inch of this unit. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, the enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, they take D3.
It's okay.
Yeah, he's handy if we see a lot of endless spells and spell magic damage in general kicking about.
Yeah.
You know, a 5 up, ignore it. Superb. But if you don't see much magic, he's not going to do much.
No.
Now, here we get the Gutrippaz. So this is your basic Kruleboyz. So, movement 5, 2 wounds, bravery 5, and a 5 up save. And they have the Wicked Sticker. Just 2 inch range, 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. And the champion gets +1 attack.
Yeah.
And these guys don't have a musician or standard bearer or anything like that. It's just a champion.
Yeah.
So they have Scare Tactics as their ability. So at the start of the charge phase, if this unit is more than 3 away from all enemy units, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 12 of this unit that is not a hero or monster and roll 2d6. Add 1 to the roll for every 5 models in this unit. If that roll is equal to or greater than the bravery characteristic of the enemy unit, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that enemy unit that target this unit until the end of that turn.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But
basically, you roll 2 dice, +1 for every 5 models. You beat their bravery. If that unit then charges you, they're -1 to hit.
Yeah.
So either they're going to be less effective when they charge you, or they just won't charge you. They'll charge somewhere else. So either way, it's going to have an effect.
I think that's all right, actually. For a battle liney type unit, it's nice to have.
Yeah, especially when we get to their points, we can see how much you're getting in the unit and how much that's going to play out. But I think they're sitting between. They don't have the output of the Iron Jaws, but they've got more output really than the Bone Splitters, who need a lot more models.
Yeah.
To have much of an impact, where these guys are a bit more defensive and yeah. So then we have the Hobgrot Slittaz. I love these models. I really like the Hobgrots. And I know they're one of the more divisive of the Kruleboyz range, but they've definitely grown on me. So movement 5, 1 mood, a mighty bravery of 4, and a save of 6 up.
Yep.
So they have a missile weapon. They have sulfuric scrap grenades. 8-inch range, 4s and 3s, -1 round, 1 damage. So, not terrible. Better than their combat profile, which is 2 attacks, 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
So these guys are not fighters. Their champion has +1 attacks. Their standard bearer is reroll battleshock tests, and their musician is run and still shoot, which is excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stab him good. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with slitter knives is 6, that attack scores 2 hits on the target instead of 1. Make a wound and save roll for each hit.
That's pretty
now,
cool.
These don't get your venomous weapons rule.
No.
Because you need the Kruleboyz Orruck keyword. Now, these have Orruck Warclans, Hobgrot, Kruleboyz. So they don't have the keywords to get that. Because, again, as we've seen, these guys aren't part of the Kruleboyz. They're an intermediary between the Kruleboyz and whoever it is that's supplying their armor. And it was being covered in the community articles when they were revealed. So I think it's fair they're part of the army, but they aren't getting the venomous weapons ability. But they're not there to do damage. These are your chaff screens. They can do a little bit of range damage. Like, I think they're going to be pretty good because, you know, you've got a unit of 10 or 20 of them throwing out those grenades at -1 damage, running and shooting. Plus, we've got charge reactions.
They are pretty mobile, and they can probably keep a back objective pretty safe, I think.
Yeah. Well, I like
and aggravate a mid objective.
Yeah, because you can't ignore them, but they're going to just throw grenades at you all game.
Yep.
And then we have, I think this is the unit that was the most spoken about, I think, was the Man-skewer Boltboyz.
I like these.
Yeah. They're just so different to what we've seen from Destruction so far. But, yeah. So the movement 5, 2 wounds, bravery of 5, and a 6-up save. So again, these guys are not designed to be in the front lines. These are definitely your long-range snipers. So they have a Man-skewer crossbow hasty shot profile, just 12-inch range, 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. Or the aim shot, which is 24-inch range, 2s and 3s, 1 round, 2 damage.
Yeah.
And they've got a jaggedy blade, which is 2 attacks at 4s and 4s, 1 damage. So their ability is pick him off. So when this unit attacks with a Man-skewer crossbow, use their aimed shot missile weapon characteristic if it did not make a normal move in the same turn and is more than 3 away from all enemy units. Otherwise, you use the hasty shot profile.
Yeah, so you get 2 shots if you use the hasty shot profile.
Yeah.
But you're not as accurate.
No. And you've not got as much range.
No.
But if you can keep them back, yes, you've only got 1 shot, but you're hitting on 2s.
Yeah. Which for destruction is amazing.
Yeah. Even the 4 for destruction isn't terrible.
No. No.
For destruction shooting, anyway. And then we'll yeah.
I was going to say, like, I really, really like the idea of these, because, like, as a mainly destruction player, you've got access to so little shooting. Unless you run Arrow Boys, you've pretty much got no shooting.
No. I think you're going to see these in a lot of just Warclans units, Warclans armies, big WoW armies, just to give you that little bit of shooting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then we cover their points here.
Yep.
So the Gutrippaz come in a unit of 10 for 180 points. And they are battle line.
How many wounds have they got?
2.
So they're on par with Ardboys, because Ardboys were 90 but went back up to 100, I think.
think something like that, yeah.
At the point of
But then-
filming, obviously, we don't know if they've changed points, so...
I think it's safe to assume almost everything will change points going into AOS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the changing of the board size has to change all the points. So I think we can assume most things are going to go up, so it's kind of hard to figure out how these are going to place compared to other units. But I don't think that's terrible. 180 points for 20 wounds with a 5-up save. Not terrible at all.
Not
Your
bad.
killer boss...
Not bad at all.
No. Your killer boss with Stabgrot, 140 points.
I think most heroes tend to be between 100 and 160-ish anyway.
Yeah.
And, you know, to give you that extra bubble of, I'm only losing one model, and then I can use Inspiring Presence elsewhere.
Yeah.
In an orc list, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. I think so. And this is also the first time we've seen that single description used, which is that you can't reinforce this unit at all.
Right, okay.
Because you just have a single hero. Obviously, going back to the Gutrippaz, they can be reinforced. So you reinforce them once, would be putting up to 20 models, and then because they're battle line, they can be reinforced a third time, which would put them up to 30 models.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you've got the killer boss on Great Nashtooth, who's 200 points.
It's not bad. It's only
I think
60 points more. He's faster. He's got more wounds. He's got more attacks. Like,
if we see any cavalry or speedier units for this army when we get the full release, I think he's going to be a great pick then. Just to start, because if you know yourself, you run cavalry, they cost more, and losing one from Battle Shock hurts. But if you're only ever going to lose one, it's not too bad. You can deal with losing one, but at least knowing you're only ever going to lose one, you can be a bit more risky with them, a bit more devil may care with them, rather than just being like, oh no, I can't put them in here because I fail Battle Shock, I'm going to lose like 4.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so after him, we've got the Murknob with Belcha-banna, who is 115 points. That elusive new 5-point increment.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good, you know. Most wizards sit around 100 points, but for that spell that he's got.
Oh no, this is the guy with the banner.
Oh right, okay.
Murknob Belcha-banna. So he's the 115 points for the 5-up deny, with 5-up ignore the effects of spells.
Could be useful.
He's very much going to be dependent on, if you know you're playing against magic, take him.
Yeah.
Now it's the Shaman, and he's 125. I think it's fine.
I think that's fair. I think for what he does, his spell's great, and the poison and the elixir is good.
Honestly, I'd look at 2.
Yeah. Because you want the spell and you want the poison.
Yeah, because you can't do the poison if you're doing a spell. So you want 2 of them to be able to give at least one unit the poison and give another you can cast that spell. Like I really think you want 2 of them.
Absolutely.
And that's before we get to whatever lore spells they'll eventually have in their battle tome.
Exactly.
And then the Hobgrot Slittaz are 10 models for 95 points.
That's fair.
Again, I think that's absolutely fine. What size bases are they on?
25s.
They're 25s.
25s.
So yeah, that's fine. They're not going to be covering too much of the board. That's the thing, obviously. Like if you've got 10, 32 mil base, that's quite a bit of board coverage. But if they're only 25s, then it's not going to be they're not covering as much of the board. So 95s are fair.
And then you have to kind of double rank them now as well because of the new coherency ability. So. Yeah.
Well, 25 you don't the same because the base is like less than an inch wide. You can be in a line and still be within coherency of 2.
Yeah.
32 mils you can't, but 25 mils you can. So yeah. And then lastly, we have the Man-skewer Boltboyz, who are 3 of them for 120 points.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's... If you can keep them out of combat, because if anything touches them, they will die because they've only got 6-up save.
So
They are not sticking around.
this is what I would do. I would have a unit of 10 or 20 Hobgrot Slittaz stood in front of them.
Yeah.
Put them on
definitely.
the objective, put the Slittaz, even 6 inches in front of them so that, your opponent isn't charging. You can then still fire into them.
Yeah.
You
need to play about with screens for them. Yeah, because and both these units, the Hobgrots and the Man-skewer Boltboyz, can therefore be reinforced once, as our understanding of the rules sit currently, depending on whatever the General's Handbook does to amounts of reinforcements and things like that. So your Hobgrots could be 20 models, and your Boltboyz can be 6 models.
Yeah.
Although I think with them, I wouldn't bump up the unit. I think I'd rather run a couple of smaller units, just because when they start to die, they will die fairly quickly.
And
I'd rather have.
And if you get
2 or 3
caught,
units.
you'd rather only 3 get caught than 6.
Exactly, 100%. I think a couple of units of them dotted throughout your army would do really well.
Yeah. So, whilst Grant has been talking, I have built the boss on foot with his little stab grot. The stab grot is awesome. And I built the guy on Nashtooth. He looks really, really cool. It reminds us, the thing he's riding reminds us of the dogs from the Resident Evil movie with like the inside-out skin type thing.
Oh, nice.
So that's what it reminds me of.
Have you seen the making of those movies?
No.
With like the dogs covered in all the special effects and stuff. And they're just like walking around being like normal, lovable dogs, and they're like looking like zombies. It's amazing.
Fantastic models, and I'm really excited to get the rest of them built, especially the shooter guys and the shaman. Stay around, guys. These will get painted up. I can't promise when. I've got a lot of projects on at the minute, and obviously, me and Grant are spending a long time going through the Dominion box, trying to cover as much as we can.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. More videos coming soon featuring these guys, because I will be painting these up, Grant. And of course, more Age of Sigmar 3 content coming very soon. Go and check out the rules videos. Go and check out the Stormcast video, where we do very much the same, in fact, exactly the same as what we've just done, but this time with the Stormcast models. So, Grant, it's been a pleasure as always, and
indeed,
we'll see you guys next time.